Turn heads and bring the hype with a custom hype chain from Lotwin. Perfect for youth sports, fantasy football, or just flexing your pride. Go to Lotwin.com, use the promo code TCCPOD for 10% off your order. That's Lotwin.com, promo code TCCPOD for 10% off. Get your custom hype chain and get hype with Lotwin. What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for April 6, 2026. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Monday edition of the podcast. Hope everyone had good holidays over the weekend. You found your eggs, you had some good candy, and you pigged out on some good food. Enjoyed the fairly nice weather I would think we had yesterday, or Saturday, was outstanding. So hopefully you were able to get to enjoy that. We got a big show today, though, including a new segment that I'm going to play around with here. More on that in a minute. But let's start with Rewind the Weekend like we do every Monday. Brought to you by Philly Goat. Go to phillygoat.com. They have you covered. They got the best selection of Philly sports apparel in the city. So go check them out. And really, Ryan and the team over there, they're on point. I mean, they're working round the clock. It seems like whenever there's a newsworthy thing that happens, there's a shirt for it. So go to Philly Goat, use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order, all one word, and go see what Ryan and the team at Philly Goat are up to. All right, let's start with the Sixers. Kind of a mixed bag weekend for them. Friday, good win, 115-103 over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Again, it was solid. It wasn't spectacular. Joe and Paul George both played, so it's a different vibe, different dynamic when both of those guys play. But a win is a win. Saturday, though, no Joe. Second half of a back-to-back. Paul George did played fairly well. He's been playing since he came back from suspension. But they were no match for the Pistons. 116-93. Maxey had 23. Paul George had 20. I wonder if it would have been slightly different with Joe in there. I guess we won't know until the playoffs. But we're in the crunch time now. We're into the final sprint. There are 5 games left. They play tonight in San Antonio. Looks like Joe is not on the injury report for that. Thursday in Houston, Friday in Indiana, and then they finish up Sunday with Hall of Famer and former Sixer coach Glenn Rivers. They'll do so without Cam Payne, who's out 2 weeks with a hamstring injury. Kind of one of those things like you don't want to see it, but it's okay. I think they can survive Cam Payne not being in. But where do the Sixers stand? Currently 6, tied with Toronto, but due to the tiebreaker, Sixers have the 6th pick. They're still 2 games back with 5 left of that 5th spot. And crunched some numbers, went to a couple sites that I trust, and it's a 60+% chance that the Sixers will get that 6 or the 7 seed. It's more likely they'll get the 6 seed, but as we said last week, they need to sort of split going down the stretch, and we'll go 4-3 down the stretch the last 7 games, and they're already 1-1. So 3 more wins out of the next 5 should clinch that 6 seed for the Sixers. I guess a lot's going to be dependent upon Joe. Would love to get a guaranteed 7-game series and not have to worry about the play-in. But we'll see how it plays out. But it's big week for the Sixers. And then, of course, the big story, the Flyers. What a great weekend for the Flyers. I mean, first of all, the atmosphere at the Xfinity Mobile Arena was just electric. Good win Friday night, 4-1 over Detroit. Mishkov, Tippett, Bump, and Sanheim all scored for the Flyers. Dan Vladar was outstanding, but I can't get over how intense and how into it the fans were. So they got them right on the cusp of getting into the playoffs. And then yesterday, a gritty, no pun intended, hard-fought win, a 2-1 win in overtime versus the Bruins. Porter Martone with his first NHL goal, and it was a big one in overtime to win the game. He also assisted on the other goal, Christian Dvorak. But it was just, like I said, yesterday more so than Friday night was just an electric atmosphere, and playoffs for the first time in a while are within sight for the Flyers. They're currently in the third spot in the Metro. They've kind of jumped everybody through it all, jumped everybody, and are solidly in the playoffs. I mean, they're only like a point up on the wild card, but their playoff percentage right now is 40-some% with 5 games left. And with the NHL, more so than any other sport, it's all about getting hot, and the fact that the hot Flyers are coming together, they're getting hot, and they're playing well to get even attempt to get into the playoffs. That bodes well for the Fly guys. We saw that in 2010 when they had to win on the last day of the season to get in, and then went on that run to the Stanley Cup final. But things are looking up for the orange and black. But love it. Absolutely love it. It just, both games were just fun to watch. Lots of sports on TV this weekend, but that Flyers games, both of them were fun to watch. Phillies quietly took 2 of 3 from the Rockies. Friday was just what they needed, or so we thought. 10-1. Aaron Nola pitched well, but the offense exploded and then kind of went to bed for the rest of the series. Saturday, Jesus Luzardo was dealing, but the offense couldn't get it going. They beat the Rockies 2-1. And then yesterday, Taijuan. Now, a lot of people are going to get on Taijuan, and rightfully so. He gave up 2 home runs. Actually, I think he gave up 3 home runs, 2 of them to Mickey Moniak, Philly's former number 1 overall pick. But he pitched solid. I mean, 5 innings, 4 earned runs from your 5th starter or 4th starter, however you want to kind of classify him. You got to score more than 3 or 2 runs in the last 2 games in Colorado. Like, the fact that the Phillies scored 3 runs in 2 games in Colorado, I think we have some problems. I hate to say it. I know everybody's like, oh, it's early. Listen, we are 9 games in now. I'm concerned. I am very concerned because, with the exception of the explosion Friday, this offense has been, at least from the big guys, has been terrible. Absolutely terrible. Of course, they're in San Francisco now. We'll not even get a chance to watch them for 3 days. But they did take 2 of 3, so I guess we can hang our hats on that. But one of the worst teams in the league, and you can only score 3 runs in the last 2 games of that series after putting up 10 on Friday. Not good. Not good. But Andrew Painter's on the mound tonight. It's a shame. It's going to be way past my bedtime to even watch it. And as a lot of baseball guys like to say, you can't win the division and make the playoffs in April, but you can certainly lose it. So I guess the fact that they were able to take 2 out of 3 is a good thing, but not exactly inspiring all the confidence in the world in me right now. Union. Stop me if you've heard this before. Union lost again, 2-1. Danley Jean-Jacques scored in the 78th minute, and then the Union quickly gave up the go-ahead goal in the 80th minute. More record-setting for the Union, and not the good kind. First ever team that won the Supporters' Shield the year before to lose their first 6 games of the MLS season. They got a week to think about it as they're in Montreal on Saturday. Another big story this weekend was the South Carolina Gamecocks, led by Coach Dawn Staley, North Philly's own. Great game against UConn on Friday night. Of course, the fireworks after the game, where Gino got in Dawn's face, and her North Philly roots quickly came out. I've seen that look before, teaching in North Philly for 10 years. She was ready to throw down, and I put my money on Dawn Staley to beat Gino's ass. But just a great game for Dawn and the Gamecocks on Friday. And then yesterday, shout out to UCLA. They took belt to ass on South Carolina, and I mean, you got to give it up. South Carolina couldn't hit shots, and UCLA came out and played a great game. So, no national championship for South Carolina this year, but they did beat UConn. And it was very disappointed in Gino for that. But congrats to Dawn and the Gamecocks for coming in second overall. All right, so what happened this weekend in Philly sports history? Let's start on April 4th. And in 1941, the Steelers and Eagles traded cities. Art Rooney and Bert Bell, the founder of the Eagles, bought the Eagles. Alexis Thompson bought the Steelers, but Alexis Thompson lived in New York, wanted to be closer to his home. So they essentially swapped franchises. So what does that mean? I guess technically we're the Steelers and the Steelers are the Eagles. But the NFL, because of the way they ended up swapping a lot of the players and front office people, so essentially they stayed the same. But the NFL considers both franchise continuous in their cities, pretty much because of those trades. But they traded cities today. Rooney and Bell bought the Eagles, moved them to Pittsburgh. Alexis Thompson's bought the Steelers, moved them to Philly. But everything else remained the same. I know, it makes zero sense whatsoever. Fast forward all the way to 2003. Last home opener at the Vet. Phillies and Pirates wore 1971 throwbacks. Jim Bunning, who started the first game ever at the Vet, threw out the first pitch. Pirates won it 9-1. But the big story, a young Chase Utley made his debut pinch hitting in the second inning, and he struck out. But the rest, as they say, is history. And then in 2016, Villanova beat North Carolina 77-74 when Chris Jenkins hit a 3 at the buzzer to win the national championship. They also won me $750 that day as well. Kind of a consolation prize for Villanova winning the national championship for this Temple guy. And then April 5th, 1967, Sixers beat the Celtics 115-104 to go up 3-0 in the Eastern Division Finals. Wilt Chamberlain was 1 assist short of messing around and getting a triple-double. 20 points, 9 assists, and 41 rebounds, which is an NBA playoff record which still stands and probably will never be broken again. Fast forward to 1981. Sixers beat the Bucks 125-122 in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals, and it was a block party at the Spectrum. No, it was not a promotion that they were running for the playoffs. Sixers set a playoff record, 20 blocks in the game against the Bucks, 6 of them by Dr. J. That year, the 80-81 season, was the year the Sixers blew the 3-1 lead in the Eastern Conference Final to the Celtics. Then in 1993, Phillies opened the season with a 3-1 win over the Astros down in Houston. Pete Incaviglia, Jim Eisenreich, and Darren Doughton all had RBI. Terry Mulholland pitched a complete game on opening day, gave up 4 hits. Phillies would sweep the Astros in that series, and they were off to the races in 1993. 2 years later, Sixers lose to the Hornets 84-66, setting a team record for lowest points scored in a game. It wouldn't last long, though, as they would break that the following year. And then 2006, Jimmy Rollins hit in his 38th consecutive game. Excuse me. Last game of that hitting streak. Phillies lose 4-3 to the Cardinals, but the 38-game hitting streak still remains a Phillies record. And then in 2010, Phillies opened the season in D.C. Barack Obama threw out the first pitch wearing a White Sox hat. How could the Nationals let that happen? I know he's the leader of the free world, but come on, Barack. You got to be better than that. Placido Polanco hit a grand slam. Ryan Howard homered as the Phillies beat the Nationals 11-1. Roy Halladay was outstanding. 7 innings pitched, 9 Ks, 1 run in his debut with the Phillies. And then we're going to try something new. I don't know how this is going to go. We'll do this every Monday. But Citi Power Rankings. Where do our 5 professional teams stand right now? And I'm not really sure what I'm basing this off of. Excitement, fun, wins, losses, vibes, must-see TV, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Here are my Citi Power Rankings for April 6, 2026. Number 1, we got the Flyers. Get fired up. There's nothing like playoff hockey, and we're about to embark on one hell of a journey here down the stretch. Number 2, the Phillies. Not so much for their play on the field, but I can guarantee you a lot of the talk this week, today anyway, is going to be on the offense and the woes and the struggles they have. Number 3, the Sixers. Playoff push. If they don't get the 6th seed, I'll watch, but I'm just like, eh. And then, of course, we got the Eagles. Eagles are still in the news. Lots of talk about Jalen Hurts and the contract extension. People are coming out of the woodwork. Levante David, who retired, said, we never worried about Jalen Hurts. Most disrespected quarterback on the planet. Most disrespected Super Bowl winning quarterback on the planet. Does he have some things he needs to improve on? Yeah. But come on, the disrespect is ridiculous. And coming in at number 5, the Union, 0-6. Not a lot going on with the Union. If you like soccer, it's a fun place to watch a game, but the product on the field is terrible. And that's the Power Rankings for this week. We'll try it again next week and see where we're at. But let me know what your thoughts are on the Power Rankings. 267-495-8531. What did I miss? I don't know. Just something that popped in my head in the shower this morning. But that is Rewind the Weekend, brought to you by Philly Goat. Go to phillygoat.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. And then Friday's trivia question in honor of Jimmy Rollins' 38-game hitting streak. I said, who are the next ones in order for the top 5 for the Phils? Chase Utley hit in 35 consecutive later that season in 2006. Ed Delhonte hit in 31. Chuck Klein had 26-game hitting streaks 2 times in the 1930 season. And Willie Montanez hit in 25. That rounds out your top 5. Willie Montanez is the guy that tripped everyone up over the weekend. Some quick housekeeping. Be sure to follow me on all social media platforms at Philly Jimbo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mott, and continue to spread the word as we grow this thing. But I'm anxious to hear your thoughts on the Power Rankings. This day in Philly sports history is proud to be a part of the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network, where passionate fans make powerful content. Check out theclashingconferences.com and join the squad today. All right, April 6th. First, we're going to go back to 1974. And on this day in 1974 was the Phillies Mets opening day at the Vet. Phils were down 4-3 in the bottom of the ninth. Mike Schmidt steps up with 1 on and 1 out and hits the walk-off opening day home run off of his future teammate, Tug McGraw. It was Mike's second walk-off of his career, 1 of 10 that he would have. But Mike Schmidt with the walk-off opening day home run against the Mutts, and future teammate Tug McGraw, future guy he would ride to the games with from Delco, Tug McGraw. Fast forward to 1986, Flyers close out an emotional season with a 5-3 win over the Capitals down at the Spectrum. Brian Propp had a hat trick and 2 assists. Tim Kerr, 2 goals and an assist, and Brad McCrimmon had 3 assists for the Flyers as they won the Patrick Division for the 3rd time in 4 years. This was the year that Pelle Lindbergh passed away. The emotion was just too much as the Flyers did get bounced in the next round, first round of the playoffs, to the Rangers. And then fast forward to 1993, the day my childhood died. Reggie White signed with the Packers a 4-year, $17 million contract, was the poster child for free agency for the NFL. Said famously that God told him to go sign in Green Bay. There is a story out there, I cannot confirm it one way or the other, that Mike Holmgren, the coach of the Packers, called and left Reggie a answering machine message. And for you kids out there, before voicemail, we had machines that would plug into your phone and you would record a message on it, and then you'd hit play. It would play your message and you would go on. But apparently Mike Holmgren called and said, Reggie, this is God, sign in Green Bay. Now, if that story is true, that's amazing. 100% amazing. Even if it's not true, the lore and the legend of that is kind of funny. But Reggie signs with Green Bay on this day. Devastating. A young 14-year-old Jim, who never really got over that. 2 Super Bowls do help, but still bitter to this day about Reggie leaving to go to Green Bay. And then fast forward to 2006, Phillies swept by the Cardinals to start the season. They lost this game 4-2, and Jimmy Rollins went 0 for 4, ending that 38-game hitting streak. Most of it occurred the season before, but we all know how that 2006 season would play out. They traded Bobby Abreu. The team got hot, made the trade for Jamie Moyer, and would lead them to the golden era of Phillies baseball. 2008, no Joe, no problem for the Sixers as they beat the Cavs 132-130 at the Wells Fargo Center. This was a huge game for playoff positioning. Ben Simmons messed around and had a triple-double, 27 points, 15 rebounds, 13 assists. And man, what could have been with Ben Simmons? I mean, if he could have gotten his head out of his butt, dude could have been good. J.J. Redick led all scorers with 28. Marco Bellinelli had 23, and Ersan Ilyasova had 17 points and 11 rebounds. And man, how fun was that team that year? They got hot in the second half of the season. It was the first time of the process era they went to the playoffs. First 50-win season since the AI team that went to the finals. But guys like Bellinelli, Ilyasova, that was just a fun team. And now here we are, still searching for the promised land. And then in 2024, WrestleMania 40, Night 1 at the Link. The main event was Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins to determine the stipulation, the Bloodline rules of Night 2's main event between Roman and Cody Rhodes. Rock and Roman Reigns did win that match. I was in attendance with my son. It was a pretty cool experience. It was cold, but it was cool. Lane Johnson and Jason Kelsey came out in mass during the Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio match. It was just a lot of fun. But WrestleMania Night 1 on this day 2 years ago. And then finally, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. In Philly, first impressions can last forever. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, sometimes ugly. This month, we're going to take a look at all 3. And today, we're going to take a look at Allen Iverson and his first impression. Obviously, his first game was just outstanding. 30 points, 6 assists. We got a glimpse of what was going to be during that rookie season with AI. Then, of course, the crossover on Jordan. He would go on to win Rookie of the Year, 23.5 points per game, 7.5 assists per game, 2 steals, and we were off and running. This was a good first impression that only got better as AI's career went. He never disappointed. To me, he's the quintessential Philly athlete. Put it all on the line every night. He's been very outspoken in recent weeks about the load management in the NBA. He's like, they used to have to hide my jersey so I wouldn't play. And y'all got on me about practice. And here we are talking about the game, not practice, the game. But Allen Iverson, what a first impression. 30 points in his first game in the NBA en route to the Rookie of the Year. And truthfully, I don't think any athlete in the history of Philly sports, maybe we'll get another at some point, but I don't think anybody represents Philly the way that Allen Iverson does. So that is our first impression for today. Allen Iverson, 30 points in his first game en route to Rookie of the Year award. On this day in 2024, WrestleMania 40, Night 1 at the Link. Lane Johnson and Jason Kelsey make appearances. 2008, Sixers beat the Cavs 132-130. Ben Simmons messing around, got a triple-double. J.J. Redick, 28 points. Jimmy Rollins' hit streak ended on this day in 2006. Reggie signed with Green Bay, and I wish and I hope that the Mike Holmgren leaving a message on his answer machine. I hope that story is true. Mike Schmidt with the walk-off on opening day against the Mutts in 1974. Brian Propp with 3 goals and 2 assists on the last day of the season back in 1986. Yeah, it was a busy day, busy weekend. But We'll have more on the Phillies tomorrow, as well as an update on the Sixers and Flyers playoff seeding as the show goes on, and we are here with a playoff push for both winter teams. I'm more excited about the Flyers right now than anything, just mainly because the atmosphere in the building was just outstanding over the weekend. Hopefully the Phillies can score some runs. Andrew Painter continues his good start in the major leagues. But we'll be back tomorrow with a little Tuesday motivation and positivity. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for April 6, 2026. My name is Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Monday. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.